So let's talk about Anthropic and Amazon. It's a perfect marriage that is going to help both companies. We are certainly seeing it in the stock price of Amazon. It's keep going up. I love Amazon, for many other reasons, not just because of Anthropic. But today I want to talk about, should I invest in Amazon because I want a piece of share in Anthropic? That sounds like an easy question to answer because Amazon owns 20% of Anthropic. So if Amazon owns 20% of Anthropic and I want to own Anthropic, which I cannot really go to market and buy their shares. So it makes perfect sense for me to own Amazon. That way I have some exposure to Anthropic. So I'm going to break that down today. Is that a good deal? Is that a bad deal? What kind of implications can I see on Amazon? What is Anthropic going to get out of this? So hopefully you're going to find a lot of value in this. Now, once again, I'm not an investment advisor, so I'm not here to tell you to go buy Amazon stock. For all transparency purposes, I do own Amazon. I love the company, like I said, for many other reasons other than just Anthropic. Maybe that's a content for another video. We can talk about it some other day. So anytime there's a dip out there in Amazon, it's always a great opportunity to buy. Although most people don't, because they're looking for short-term opportunity. They're looking to make money this year. They don't want to wait 4 or 5 years. And that is exactly one of the things I'm going to discuss with you, that if you're getting into this trade because of this Anthropic deal, you might be making a mistake. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Deepak. I run a tax firm called Tax Code Advisor. So if you want to learn more about me, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe to YouTube channel, or just reach out to me via taxcodeadvisors.com. I do a lot of events. I have one coming on May 16th in Austin, downtown Round Rock area. We're going to have a nice breakfast together. We'll network. I'll answer some of your questions. I'll talk about some of the companies that I'm paying attention to, some of the trends that I'm seeing in market. We'll talk about real estate. We'll talk about taxes. So bring your friends, anybody that might have a big tax problem. If they're paying a lot of money in taxes and they want to learn some strategies, it would be a good idea. People who are interested in building wealth, they want to understand company, they want to learn about investing. It's a great event for them to learn about all that kind of good stuff as well. So once again, go to taxcodeadvisors.com and sign up from there. So let's get back to this deal between Anthropic and Amazon. On the surface, this sounds like a perfect marriage. Amazon owns 20% of Anthropic. So if I want to get a piece of cake in Anthropic, then, hey, I just buy some Amazon shares. Now, why is that important for Amazon? Well, Anthropic says, look, we are hungry for compute. We need a lot of data centers, and we are growing fast. So what we're going to do is, if we partner up together, we're going to spend $100 billion on Amazon. What do you expect Amazon stock to do on a news like that? Well, you can see that in the stock price. That is why Amazon stock has been going up $100 billion, right? However, I want you to understand that this $100 billion is not going to be spent overnight. It's not like tomorrow Anthropic is writing a check. It's going to happen over the next 10 years. And in order to generate this revenue, Anthropic would obviously pay in payments over the next 10 years, but Amazon, on the other hand, would have to invest heavily into data centers. How much? Well, current estimate sits at $50 billion. So I want you to think about that. If I'm going to generate $100 in revenue, but I have to invest $50 today, which most likely I'm going to take a debt on, right? So I'm going to pay maybe 5%, 6%, 7% in current interest rate over the next 10 years. And then I actually make $100 billion out of that deal. Do you really think I'm going to make any money out of it? Most likely not, because of time value of money. I am spending my dollars today. I'm going to make revenue in future. So if you are getting into Amazon right now because of, Amazon got $100 billion contract from Anthropic, most likely you're making a mistake. Now, I'm not saying it's a mistake to buy Amazon stock. I think Amazon is going to do great for many other reasons. I'm just saying for this reason, if that's the thought process, then you might be making a mistake. Now, there are a lot of other great reasons, and I can talk about that. Like, for example, why does this relationship is so important? Well, number one is now that this relationship is solidified, that means the competition cannot get in. That itself has a lot of value. Obviously, companies like Google, Meta, Microsoft would love to make similar deal with Anthropic. But I'm sure when Amazon made a deal, they probably would have put some clause in their contract that they cannot take money from other hyperscalers out there. So that's good for Amazon. They're building that relationship. Number two, look at Anthropic in general, they are, every few years in America, a new great company is born. And if you invest in those companies in the early years or the next 15, 20 years, just that one investment can pay off for your entire retirement. Think about companies like Google, Meta, Apple, Tesla, and there are many others out there. I don't have to name them all, but you get the picture. Anthropic, as of today, sounds like one of those companies. Why? Because they are becoming the prominent name when it comes to enterprise AI. They are into defense sector. They are launching new products faster speed than anybody else. And they are disrupting markets after markets. Kind of reminds me of Google. When they came around, they start disrupting a lot of companies. Similar thing is now happening within the AI. So obviously, it makes sense that we want to invest in this company in the early days, because over the next 10, 15, 20 years, this company is going to grow into something really big, and that can pay off for all of our mistakes that we might have made in the world of finance. Amazon owns 20% of this company, which is roughly about $380 billion of valuation. That means on paper, Anthropic valuation for Meta currently sits at roughly about $75, $80 billion. Now, compare that $80 billion valuation with the market cap of Amazon. That is $2.7 trillion. So the point I'm trying to make here is, if you compare the market cap of Anthropic and you compare the market cap of Amazon, there's a big difference between those two. I mean, this is like a grape, Anthropic and Amazon is like a watermelon. So you can't really compare those together. So you can't say that I'm buying Anthropic and I can expect similar kind of return by owning Amazon. That is not going to happen. But Anthropic is certainly growing. My guess is by the time they go public, hopefully later on this year or next year, they're probably going to be, double the valuation, maybe even quadruple, especially if this SpaceX thing really blows out of proportion and a lot of people invest in that. People will be having so much hunger for new companies. And by the way, we don't really have as many great public companies. So there's a lot of hunger for people to invest. So I think it would be a perfect addition for us. Now, just to kind of give you a reference how great Anthropic is, 8 out of the Fortune 10 companies are actually Anthropic customers. 500 plus companies are investing, or not investing, more like spending $1 million or more every single year on Anthropic. And like I said, we're just only getting started. Now, I want to make one note. So you guys already know I love Amazon. I have said that many times before. I also love Micron. I love AMD. I love NVIDIA. Well, when this deal happens, okay, between Amazon and Anthropic, and Amazon commits to build this data center, 5 gigawatt data center for Anthropic, and obviously going to make that $100 billion, but $50 billion will be spent today. But where is this $50 billion going to go? Well, every single server that Amazon is going to install is going to need memory. And where is that memory going to come from? Micron. So I'm bullish on Micron. What kind of GPUs? NVIDIA. What kind of CPUs? Most likely going to be AMD, or could be Intel as well. I don't know. No details there yet. But anyhow, you see this whole ecosystem. That's why I'm bullish on all of these companies, because they kind of feed into each other. Now, at the same time, I want you to also think about the fact that AMD stock is doing well. Intel stock is doing well. Micron stock is doing well. Amazon stock is doing well. Why? Well, those stocks are doing well because not just that they're making money today, we are expecting those companies to make more money even next year. How can they make more money? Well, they can make more money one of the two ways. Either they can have more customers or they can charge more to existing customers. So far, because demand is so big, these companies has been charging more to their existing customers. So if you own, if you are into IT, you already know that data centers have become extremely expensive. If you go out there, try to buy a hard drive or memory, you'll see those prices has gone up. What that means for Anthropic or OpenAI is that they have a lot of expense. These companies are not profitable, and we don't know for how long they are going to bleed cash. So by making this partnership, Amazon is also taking on that risk, although they're mitigating that risk because they're getting that revenue out of that relationship. So actually, this relationship is more beneficial for Amazon than it is for Anthropic. I would expect that gross margins for Anthropic will to remain under pressure for quite some time. Like I said, the cost of inference compute is surging. I think for 2025, projections were around 23%. For 2026, I would expect those things to be about 30, 35%. And next year, they could be up 50%. That means if Anthropic was spending $100 a couple of years ago, next year they have to spend $150 on similar kind of results. And then we have this problem between Pentagon and Anthropic. So you guys know that during this Iran war, President Trump wanted Anthropic to give unlimited access with no restrictions to their AI. Anthropic did not like that idea, and there was big friction. Although Trump administration decided to blacklist the company, and then Anthropic went to the court, and I think for now they have a stay order on that. I think eventually those issues will work out, so I'm not really worried too much about them, but just saying that they do impact, they make good headlines and they do impact the stock as well. Another thing to keep in mind is that this area of AI is moving so fast that we're not able to make our decisions. A couple of years ago, it was ChatGPT. Last year, it was Google Gemini. This year, it's Anthropic. Each time, we thought this is the company that's going to win. So right now, as of today, it does feel like Anthropic is winning, but I cannot promise you that that would be the case next year. So imagine Amazon and Anthropic does the deal, and then next year, Microsoft and OpenAI comes out with even a better product. All of a sudden, this capital will start moving away from Amazon to Anthropic. So we have to be very, very cautious. Now when we compare between OpenAI and Anthropic, key thing is ChatGPT is used by a lot of people. I think last time I checked, almost 900 million people were using ChatGPT on regular basis. Not maybe I don't even think 1/10 of that people use actually Anthropic as of now. Neither Anthropic is focusing on marketing to those users anyway. They're really more focused on enterprise because they can take a lot of money that way as well. And lastly, what I started out with early on, you need to understand that, let's say if you own $100 worth of Amazon, you need to think about, out of that $100, how much of Anthropic do you really own? As of today, that number sits around $3, $4. So don't think that if Anthropic goes 10x, your Amazon stock going to go 10x. Now, there are a lot of other reasons why Amazon certainly can go 10x, but that might not be one of those reasons. So just be careful if you're getting into Amazon just because of this reason, then you want to be very careful. The key facts that you want to keep in mind, Amazon does own 20% of Anthropic, and Amazon will earn $100 billion of revenue, but that is going to happen over 10 years. And Amazon is investing $25 billion in Anthropic right now. Plus, they would have to invest $50 billion in building the 5 gigawatt data center. By the way, one more company that is building such a big data center is Galaxy Digital. So you want to keep an eye out on that if you like data center plays. And lastly, I'll leave you with this. Amazon is not writing a $25 billion check to Anthropic today. They have given them $5 billion. And then based on certain contractual obligations, they are going to invest another $20 billion over time. And I bring this up because you can see how many moving pieces are there. And if that moving piece changes, breaks down, something happens with competition, the entire deal can certainly fall through. Can you imagine? Just think about that for a second. What happens if one day there's a headline that Anthropic has canceled $100 billion data center deal with Amazon? What do you think will happen to the stock? So I think that hopefully answers your question. You have better understanding as to what's happening with Anthropic and Amazon. And we'll talk more about all bunch of great companies. And like I said, I can certainly make another video and talk about why I invest in Amazon. This is one reason, but this is not the primary reason. This is probably, icing on the cake. Like if I get it, great. If I don't get it, it's okay. There's a lot of other reasons why Amazon will do really good, but it's going to take time because they're still investing a lot of CapEx. Right now, one company that is actually making a lot of money is Micron. So if you are not familiar with them, I will encourage you to watch my other videos so you get to better understand it. So thank you so much, guys, for spending last 15, 20 minutes with me, and I'll see you at my next event. See you soon.